Returns probably can't stay as high as they have
further assets bought at the right time.
Not only various
political trusts,
the fragmentation of the biggest challenge is to find the right people.
When it comes to building houses, Britain appears to be digging itself into a hole. The country needs at least 200,000 new homes a year, but only 160,000 are being built. So, what's gone wrong? Well, that depends on who you ask, says Ian Fletcher of the British Property Federation.
On the part of the government, there is a claim that the house building industry isn't as efficient and as effective as it might be, that it's land banking. A lot of those claims are not really substantiated. The counterclaim from the industry is that the planning system is not fit for purpose, despite many consultations and reviews and revisions over the past few years. Our members may have part of the solution in terms of institutional money coming into the residential sector, could help the house building industry in terms of lowering the risks of house building and ensuring that capital is there to accelerate building in this country.
So are developers actually building as many homes as possible? The Office of Fair Trading is investigating claims house builders have been holding back land to artificially inflate values. It's a claim rejected by John Slaughter of the Home Builders Federation. Planning, not land hoarding, is to blame.
Well, we certainly don't feel that is a valid criticism. To some extent, the figures that people like RTPI have brought out are a reflection of the length of time it takes to get planning permission, and they haven't broken their figures down to reflect that. But we plotted this a few months ago and showed for a cross-section of our members' developments it took something like an average of 16 months between first making an application for planning and being able to start on site, and once you've cleared all the hurdles to get through the process. So that in itself means that on average you've got a significant amount of land that is partway through the planning system but you can't actually build on.
Even if the planning process is sped up, it is only part of the problem, according to Sarah Webb of the Chartered Institute of Housing.
Partly it's a planning problem, partly it's an issue about what developers like to build and what they make most profit from building. Partly it's a NIMBYism issue, partly it's a funding issue. So the number of rented and affordable houses to own that are funded by the government has, the amount of money for that fell for a number of years. It's picked up recently, but not back to the levels that we needed. Combined with the fact that there's a whole generation of people now whose first experience of investing in stocks and shares was a really bad one, and they now put their disposable income into property.
With new Prime Minister Gordon Brown pledging his support for more housing and some encouraging policy signals, there's hope the problem can be resolved.
Gordon Brown, our new Prime Minister, has come out and said housing, 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 that he will make this a priority. Also, for the first time, I think in a long time, we have a housing minister that is remaining in position, and that continuity can only be helpful. Thirdly, Mr Brown has come out and said that he is keen to ensure that he's getting the maximum contribution from all the different subsectors of the housing market, so social renting, private renting, and housing for sale.
I think there's definitely a role for people to start their housing career, if you want to see a housing career in rented housing, and moving on to owner occupation. I acknowledge completely that most people aspire to own, and I own my own house, or rather the Bank and Building Society own it, but I accept that, but I also spent the start of my housing career renting, and I think we need to. There is an absolute shortage of affordable rented housing.
We've only just really started on a new journey with Planning Policy Statement 3 for housing, which took effect in April. And one of the key ideas there is that you assess what market demand is for a particular area, working with the industry, and then you actually allocate sufficient developable land to meet that supply requirement. So we would really hope that new planning policy will make a big difference to the situation and ensure that we've got more developable land coming through, so we don't end up with the problems we've got at the moment.
Unfortunately, few believe these problems will be solved anytime soon. Yandall, EGTV.